Oh, hi there, this is Chandra Easton from StarAstrologyHealing.com speaking to you about my travels through Australia in the series known as This Ancient Land. You can find this series at my website, StarAstrologyHealing.com. Just simply type in This Ancient Land or the Kimberleys or Top End or Central Australia. Today I'll be speaking to you about my visit to the 23rd Annual Mowanjum Festival. This is the cultural festival of the Indigenous people who live, how to describe it, if you know the Gibb River Road, between there and the coast, 200 to 300 kilometres northeast of Broome and north of Derby. Yeah, there are three different tribes, the Nudgerin, the Woodera and the Wanjina people, and once a year for the last couple of decades they've been coming together, offering and sharing a window into their culture as a gift to people who are not from their community, and they travel from over this region, and they perform what's known as the Junba. And the Junba is ceremony, and it's song, and it's dance, and it's art, and totems, and it's a feast, really. Yes, and of course there's a lot of preparation that goes into it I wouldn't begin to know, but there's a couple of beautiful images here that came from the Mowanjum Festival or the Mowanjum Arts Centre. They have a Facebook page, you can find them, of the children preparing, getting dressed and ready for, getting dressed and ready for the Junba. And I think there were a lot of rehearsals that went on, and a lot of painting, and there were many activities before the dancing started. There was the opportunity to do painting, to paint the baobab nuts. There was an opportunity to connect to the elders, the older women who were making damper. Yes, there was an incredible, absolutely incredible museum and art space that's just been inaugurated with a smoking ceremony. I think it was last week, and this is filled with it's a brilliant, absolutely brilliant historical centre that encapsulates and just introduces to visitors the foundations of their tradition and their culture, and they are the custodians for the Wanjina, and the Wanjina are the foundational ancestors who have come. Now, was it 6,000 years ago? I think. Well, actually, it goes back 20,000 years. It's a big story. I think the only way I could describe it to you is to recommend a book that I've absolutely loved, and I'll put the link to it here. This is a book by Donny Woolaguja, and it's his autobiography, and he's written several books, and Donny is a very famous lawman and elder from this community, the Mowanjum community. It was his artwork of the Wanjina spirit ancestors that was displayed for the world to see at the 2000 Olympics, and he's been a mentor and a role model, and he's been gathering and archiving and the history and sharing the culture and the struggle. Incredible book. Put out by, I didn't know who put it out by, Magabala Books. Anyway, what I was trying to tell you was of the astounding museum, and one part of the museum really struck me, and it was a floor-to-ceiling screen where they were running, I think, in a 15-minute loop, images of their country that had been taken by drone. And I stood there completely and utterly mesmerised. I felt as if I was above the mountains, in the rivers, around the coast. Incredible. And this documents the different aspects of the land, the forest, the ocean. Their territorial waters go out beyond the Australian coastline and in, I think I saw a map, I don't know that I've got one here, of that they spent, was not until 2011 did they get the native title claim finally finalised. They've been fighting since the 70s to get that finalised, to put the land back, to acknowledge that they are the custodians of this ancient spiritual teaching, the Wanjina, and the land, and that they have a duty of care to pass it on to the emerging generation. There's a couple of images here of the Wanjina. Yes, and I can't speak about them because I'm so new to my research and my study and my understanding of it. There are many Wanjina, and they represent different aspects of the Creator God. So I highly recommend Donny's book to you. I had hoped to meet Donny, and in fact I did, because he's a significant person in the community. Donny's active work in the world has wound up, and he's passed the baton on to the next generation. Yeah, so the Junba was, it's not something that anyone's made up. These dances and these songs and these totem boards and these stories are given to the old people in dreams, and then they're written down through art, and out of that is the richness of the culture and the dancing. And this has been going on, as I said, I think it was 20,000 years ago. There's a particular aspect of the ancestral teaching that's been dated to 20,000 years, and another aspect of it has been dated through to 6,000 years ago. There were a few elders there, not as many as you would think. And I know when I was reading in Donny's book, he said that he was the last of his peer group. The rest of them are all gone and all passed away, and Donny's handed the baton over, and the younger next generation are carrying the flame. There's a bit of an image here of Donny on the left, and a couple of the women whose names I don't know, two of the other elders, and of course they're passing it on to the next generation. And how beautiful to see the children with their vibrancy and their joy and their enthusiasm and their creativity and their spirit. The festival itself was being run very, very efficiently by a huge team of volunteers whose names I don't know, I'm sorry. And there's one image there, and there's also a couple of images here of the crowd kind of waiting, really. I think that the Junba started about 5 and went through till about 8 o'clock, and yeah, I think there would have been around about 1,000 people. I know that they had to close the gates. They couldn't take any more people because of, no doubt, the COVID restrictions, and people were pouring in and setting up from sort of late afternoon on. A small dedicated group of musicians who seemed to change a little bit throughout the course of the evening. There was a didge, there were clapsticks, there were the elders chanting, the women were chanting. What I loved about it was that the elders were facing the dancers. You know, in the Western tradition we have the musicians, they face the audience. Well, nobody faced the audience here. The musicians and the elders faced the dancers, and the audience sat around, which I thought was wonderful. some of these images here, this one here of two of the senior elders who are leading the welcome ceremony. These are taken by Mowanjum Arts. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful imagery here, and great agility and presence. I'll just show you a couple of these. Yeah, so this is by no means the whole group of, I don't know how many dancers there would have been. Maybe there were 100 dancers. Yeah, not exactly sure. Here they are dancing, or here they are processing in to start the welcome. I guess you'd say the ages probably go from 1 year through to somewhere in the 60s, I suppose. Yeah, covering. There was one dance, I don't have a recording of it, where a grandfather and a grandson danced together. And of course I've got a few snaps here. Here's one of all the girls. Now, I'm sure that the girls in yellow are one tribe and the girls in blue are the other, but I can't tell you which is which, I'm sorry. Yes, and there's a beautiful song here. Young man singing about the history, because originally, and I know Donny talks about it in his autobiographical book, that he was, I think, a primary school age, maybe, well, he didn't go to school, but I think maybe he was about 6 or 7 years old when he was taken off country and brought out of their lands and down to Derby, which is the Bunamba people and not his tribe, and that's where they set up the old Mowanjum and where the current new Mowanjum is. And there has been attempts to go back to country. There's several hundred kilometres north, and there certainly are settlements that have been established and tourism ventures run by the younger generation. But this is a song about that history.
Started making the move from Kalmanya far north.
Far north,
Called Settle at Last.
down to where we are today. This one is called Settle at Last.
Yes, I know that this is only the first verse of that song, but it's been caused a great deal of heartache that's been taken away from their ancestral lands. yeah, heartache that continues all the way through the incarnation of the older members of the community. Yes, and this next clip here, I'll just play it for you. Beautiful markings and wonderful rhythmic song and dance. I've just got different images here. Here's one of some of the boys, younger boys. And of course, I'm sorry, I can't remember all the specifics. Every dance has a very specific storyline associated with it, but I'll just show you another video clip here. This is of the elder man and some of the younger braves, younger warriors dancing. Fabulous, isn't it? Absolutely fabulous.